I be getting to the money. Everybody mad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sophisticated Ignorance. I am Nieema, Simone.
I'm Steven.
I'm Vixon.
And we're back this week with another guest.
Why you said it like that?
Why did you say
Word. I was like,
I don't know.
that's not even Simone, ladies and gentlemen.
They're used to this. They're used to it.
This is true. And
Like,
they
what do you
thoroughly enjoy
expect?
it.
Like, what do you expect from me?
They keep coming back for more, so we're doing
Right.
something right.
Facts,
The
yo.
shenanigans. The fucking shenanigans.
Word.
That
2
never
years
stop.
in and they still fuck with us. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
That's
But
wild.
yes, Stephen, you could do the rest of the intro.
Wow.
What, I put you on the spot so now
Yeah.
you're in shambles?
I don't want to do it. I can't. Anxiety has risen.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, we have a special guest this week. My coworker, Chris. I don't know if I want to put your last name out there.
It's up to you. We can keep it.
We can just
However
call you
wanna
Chris
keep
Chris.
Chris.
it. Okay, I got it. Chris
Call him
X.
Chris.
Chris
X.
Like a superhero.
or a sex worker.
Wow.
Why'd you have to say X? I mean,
Wait.
X implies a
Oh,
lot.
your name was Video Vixon for a while.
And I was
so-
very proud of that.
Ooh.
No, because it was clever. Video production. My name is Vixon,
He
so Video
changed it once he
Vixon.
got with V. I gotta change
It was a strong suggestion. that's
Uh
what I
huh.
would say.
You
A
gotta
strong suggestion.
Nigga, what the fuck wrong with you?
change that name.
Not that harsh.
Change it.
just a strong suggestion to.
So it was one of those, if you want this relationship to
You're
continue,
You're gonna have
they're
to
going to
change.
be necessary changes that need to be
I
made.
cannot allow my boyfriend to be a hoe in these streets. So,
Yep,
we
literally.
have to
Pretty
go by
much.
the government name. Thank you very much.
It's been working. The relationship
much.
is strong.
Yeah, everything's
Business is
Gucci.
booming.
Everything's good.
Business is booming.
You should know, Miss Money.
Don't. I'm hella broke. Let me not claim that. I don't like to claim the word broke.
Yeah,
I'm not broke.
We're
I
not.
just have
You're
bills.
furloughed.
We're not doing broke for 19. Let's not do
Frugal.
The
I have
fabrics.
bills.
The
Yeah.
fabrics are
All got
elite.
bills.
I just want the people to know the fabrics are elite.
Yes, I'm not.
Top
Whatever.
notch. Egyptian cotton.
that. 100% something.
100%.
Something.
No blends in here.
Yo, we bullshit. But yeah, let's just jump into this. So, a little backstory was, again, Chris works at my job. For those who know where I work, they know. If you don't, that's
Then
it.
that's
Oh
it.
well.
That's it.
Yep.
Oh well.
Pretty much.
Shows that privilege.
So yeah, Chris works in IT. So I got in a work computer. I wanted to install some stuff for the podcast to work on. Black person, new place. You don't want to just start installing shit and then you get the snip. So I wanted to reach out, make sure everything was copacetic first. And he was like, "Yo, it's fine, whatever. You can install what you need to install. Oh, by the way, if you have a podcast, I would love to come on. I think I have a story that I would like to share." So eventually he sent an email to us, and I think everybody on the team, shout out to Bianca, our executive producer, was like literally blown away by what he put in that email. So yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and jump into this. We try to make our best effort of kind of making a timeline based off the information that you gave, but you're more than welcome to just, however the story goes, the story goes. It's your story to tell. So just a little synopsis first on Chris is, 39 years old. Like I said, he's works in IT, but he's actually a self-taught IT engineer, which I didn't even know that was fucking possible. But, black people, we just fucking excel at everything.
Literally.
You're also an actor, model, dancer, producer. You're a certified fitness trainer. You're a founder of your own company. You were originally born in Germany, and you came to the States and have been living here permanently when you were 7, turning into 8.
Yep.
So I guess we should start with Germany. Like, for people that's really, that's not a common thing to hear people from color living in Germany.
Exactly.
So how did that start
Yep.
with your parents living in Germany?
So dad is active military, or was active military at that time.
That's usually the
bouncing
case.
around, bouncing around the world. He was stationed there, and my mom is actually a dancer from Jamaica. She was on tour. They met overseas. They thought each other was cute. My brother was born 4 years earlier.
That's nice. That's like, he cute. I like him.
And here I come 4.5 years later after my brother, born in Stuttgart. The base is no longer there, but I actually went back a few years ago to see where I was born could get my birth certificate and things like that. From
Oh,
so
nice.
very
Oh,
efficient
A
people.
German birth certificate.
Yes, I have a German, one German one and one U.S. Department of State birth certificate.
Dope.
So you're Jamaican, basically.
Isn't
I'm
that
born Jamaicans, yes.
What?
Jamaican, actually.
Isn't that what?
Jamaican.
right?
Yes.
Wait, what
We're
is
making
going
up
on?
terms. We're making up terms.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yo, we've been making shit up for like for 99 episodes.
Y'all surprised? Like, come on. Like, this is something new.
So, was there a specific reason why your parents ended up coming to the States, or he just got stationed, or?
No, and they'll hate me for saying this, but the reason why we talk is to have conversation. You never know what someone else is going through or what you went through could help somebody. But my dad and mom got divorced. He moved here to marry who's now my stepmom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom brought us here to finish the divorce, and we stayed here so we could be closer to him. So she made a very hard decision to keep us here, even though they were at odds, so we could see our dad. So that's how we ended up staying in the U.S.
Do you have any like memories of Germany?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. The snow, going outside. I remember this one in particular. It was just snowing really, really bad, and it was just on and off, on and off. I would go outside, get really cold, come back in, go back outside. My friends would be outside, come back in. My mom just got so frustrated. I remember she just slammed. Never forget this plate of chicken. The thing bounced up out of the pan. That's how hard she hit on the stove. She said, "Look, you'll either stay in or stay outside." And I was like, "I'll go back outside." you're pretty much angry right now. So, I stayed outside forever. I was so frigid. I was like, I can't go back inside because I can't go warm up and come back outside because she already put the hammer down.
Typical mom.
Yeah,
You be running out of my goddamn house.
There it
You
is.
was
That's
like,
it.
oh, you out. Yeah.
There is no maybe. But yeah, the friends there, everything was cheaper. It's cleaner. Like it was just the Autobahn. Just a military lifestyle. Dad always bringing home. Now this is old school. How old I am. The die-cast metal Transformers. Like they were metal. Like this was back when toys were. You throw them, you might cut your head open and you bleed. So that's when like the Hot Wheels were actually metal. I had real rubber on the cars. Like it was like, and everything was cheap because not just the fact that it was military, but being overseas, they take care of you. Not like today's military, unfortunately, but over them. House full of groceries, $50 at the PX. Nikes just $20. It was just. Hindsight, I had every Jordan possible. Had I been thinking, but it was just that was everyday life.
Lit
It was
right
just,
now.
that's what we
flipped them Jordans, man.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Hindsight, yeah, I'd had every single thing possible, but
yeah,
to us it was paradise. Everything's paid for by Uncle Sam. So.
Dope. So okay, your parents was going through the divorce. When were there like other lingering issues that you started to see within your family at that time?
We just were never a tight-knit unit. We're getting there. I think everybody is pursuing that ultimate fit, I guess, for their family. Not to say that people are dysfunctional, but I think being overseas and being here, my mom's family being from in Jamaica, my dad basically being a world traveler, it was hard to be tight-knit to begin with. Even if we were the perfect bunch, it was just not going to happen. Like we literally were four corners of the earth. It's like, how are we ever going to get to the point where we're all together? This is pre-Facebook, pre-Twitter, pre-internet. So it's like, if you don't get this letter I sent you, or you're not here when I call you,
then that's pretty much
it. Because we're not coming to see you. We're not flying over to see you. We're not taking a Greyhound bus. Like we don't have cars. We're all, But we're a very hot-headed bunch. I'm my mom's son. I have her Jamaican temper. It don't take much to get that curry boiling. So, but in hindsight, it was just my dad is the exact opposite. It takes a lot to get him angry, where mom is nothing. So to see them interact, for the short time I did when I was little, it was like you two. I just remember like y'all just don't mix. It was just, and it wasn't a bad. It was anything negative about them. It's just y'all are just so polar opposite. It's like he takes forever to get riled up. You like being riled up, and you don't mean anything by what you say when you're riled up. But to him, it's like you're
disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But to us, the way we're brought up, that's just how she is. And like anyone who knows people from the soil of Caribbean culture, the women, and I hate to say this, but just for people to understand, they're like dudes. Like they will come to you, like what Americans picture as a dude. Like the women fight back down there. Like they're like not just physical, but like they're in your face arguing back. You're not gonna tell me whatever. And it's just two rams butting heads the whole time, and that's just the culture, how it is. But when you meet someone who's not like that, it's like you're running them straight over, and it's like I need you to fight back with me, like, and that's what we're seeing. It's like, and if you don't, this ain't
That
gonna work.
means you don't care.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so
Yeah.
Okay.
it's a cultural thing. Not saying it's right. It's just
No, I
it's a
get it.
cultural
Bro.
thing.
I'm just saying. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
You don't want to agree or disagree.
Yeah.
No, I completely get it. Yeah.
Okay, Vixen.
No, I definitely had some uncles that put some hands on their spouses for reasons.
Yeah, it's definitely a cultural thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard numerous stories of how just men from the Caribbean, how they view women in general. They're definitely the issues that black men, you know, are having, or just that are out there in terms of how they just view women, is not strictly just an American thing.
No.
Yeah, no,
It's definitely
It's a male thing.
it's just a male thing in general.
it's just deep-seated stuff.
Yeah.
I can't even explain it.
A lot of entitlement, a lot of lack of respect, a lot of not viewing women as even just human beings in general. It's basically like, you're my servant, you're just here to bear children, cook,
Yeah,
and clean.
just old school misogyny.
Yeah.
Throwback,
Nothing less, nothing more.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
And if I just happen to, you know, stick my dick in a whole bunch of other women, mind your business.
Be okay with it as long as I come back home.
Now we're a happy family. Like, I mean, pretty much.
Now I will say, like, even the times when they get physical with each other, and even in the Caribbean culture, like you see it outside of that, it's still the same thing you see stereotypically, like, why is the man hitting a woman? But it washes over so much faster down there. It's like, why'd you hit her? The dude to come beat the dude up, like, don't hit her that way. And it's not so much wash, but it's like, this is what's gonna happen. She's going to fight you back. You should have hit her the way you did. Now we're gonna jump you as other dudes. Y'all make up and keep it moving type thing. Now again, that's not right. It does sound dysfunctional, but that's just, again, that's just how it is.
That's just how the
That's
culture
how it
is.
is down there. Like,
That's how they were probably
I've seen some like
raised.
wild
Yeah.
Facebook videos of like where you hear like, oh, this local raped somebody or did such and such, and they don't play no games.
No,
That was
they
a
don't.
big reason why I kind of left Facebook for a minute, because apparently randomly came across one video where I think the guy like raped somebody in the town, so like some locals grabbed him up and like chopped him to pieces.
They didn't have the warning before you watched?
No.
This was probably
Facebook.
before the warnings.
Yeah, this was before that. This was when Facebook had no filter.
Wild Wild West. Like,
No filter. I was like, oh, y'all wilding out here. Like,
Word.
y'all just posting anything. Close account.
delete. Like,
No thanks. It's like, yo, I didn't even have breakfast yet. Like, no thanks. No
is your
thanks.
family copacetic now? Like your pops,
Oh, yeah.
mom, and stepmom,
Yeah,
they
for
all
sure.
cool and stuff?
Yeah, I thought I would never see that. Like them being in the same room without much less physical violence, just feeling the tension.
The tension.
But
Mhm.
you know, time is a
Yeah.
unique thing. Time will take care of either wounds or make you just realize how much time you've wasted or spent or need to spend on something. But to
Right.
see them, those two, like me and my brother were like, they're within 20 feet of each other. Like, I can't get over there fast enough. They start swinging, but it's
Right,
like
right.
we're done. Like I'm literally too tired for right now.
Mhm.
He's moved
It's
on.
no longer your battle.
Yeah, and it's, you know, if you say something, don't fake. I will come over there. But like even then, it's like it's
Too old,
Whatever.
too
yeah,
tired.
exactly.
The war is done.
Yes.
Like, 'cause it gets to a
Lay down
point-
your arms.
It gets to a point where it's like, you guys are gonna keep doing it. So why do I
exactly.
even care? At this
Right.
point?
Yeah, why do I
Exactly.
even interfere?
Yeah.
You are who you are,
Exactly.
and
Yeah,
that's
that's just
just
it.
that's just how it is.
And
So
I-
how was the? I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
how was the transition, moving to the States with your family and
Rough. Very
yeah,
rough.
as far as living and everything, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
very rough. Coming over here had a very, I say unique now, but back then it's funny. Like, American accent learned in German schools with a Jamaican mom. So it was every other word, there was either be the southern weird y'all drawl, because that's how you learn English over there,
Oh, okay.
or, you know, soon come, things like that, Jamaican. Like, who are you? Like, people would literally turn like, what three people are right behind me talking? I'm like, it's only me now.
It's
Don't do
just
that.
me.
I was really, really, really light skinned. Sun doesn't come out in Germany, and I got chicken pox when I first came here. So I was pizza face for the longest time. We couldn't afford clothes a lot, our own separate substantial wardrobe, so we shared a lot of clothes. Luckily, my brother, who was 4.5 years older than me, still was my size. Like, we wore each other's clothes. A lot of fights. I wasn't a fighter. Like, I saw other people fight. I obviously saw my mom and dad fight, but going in school, I was like, we had the typical
Popular kids.
kids who were from the rougher side of the streets or whatever, and were getting like bullied in the school. Like, I just didn't know how to even respond. Like, I would run away from home a lot, would take the long way from home from school. My mom wouldn't understand But it was really, really rough. And it was just hindsight. And even then going through it, I'm like, people would assume the color of my skin. Oh, you're down with us. Oh, you're from that part of the city. I'm like, I'm still trying to learn how to spell the city I'm in. Like, don't, you know, like, yes, I am black, but I'm not down. Like, just put it out there. Like, I'm not, everything you're saying is going way over my head. Like, way completely over my head. Like, if you were to slow down, stop punching me, like, you know, like let me know. I know, right?
Then you'll understand.
Exactly. You know, I played soccer, football. I didn't play basketball and American football, and that was another world of beatdowns. Then it's like, you play soccer? I'm like, I guess.
Nerd.
I know,
Like,
exactly.
like,
Right?
what?
Exactly.
The biggest sport in the whole world?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
I'm a nerd?
Kids
Like,
are really evil.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they start, separating from one another. Finding out what do we like together, and if you're not with it, then I look down upon you.
yeah, kids don't know how to differentiate differences in the sense of like, oh, okay, being different is okay, instead of being different is like, if you're not like me, then you're trashed and you gotta get beat up.
You
Yeah.
get trash.
Oh, you from this neighborhood, so you do X, Y, and Z, so I can't fuck with you.
Right. Yeah, kids are trash. Well,
This is true. It's very true.
So when you moved here, did you have to stay with family? Did you have family here? Like, how did that
So
work?
my mom shipped us here first because the whole her not being a citizen, the army took over and like, okay, we'll fly you stay with your dad. So went from coming through New York, went to where he's from in Bremerton, Washington, down to Anaheim, California. And I say this, people think I'm the most obnoxious person, but I hated Disneyland because we were there almost every day for 2 weeks. That was our babysitter. Dad would go to work. We got it for free because of military benefits.
right.
They was like, oh, you had Disneyland every day. Like, yeah, I had it every freaking day. I don't
Right.
want to see Mickey Mouse
Every
ever.
Every
Like,
day.
it was
Like, I don't want those big ass turkey
I
legs.
know, right?
Next time you see him,
yeah,
What?
no,
See,
you know,
they
Oh.
have these big ass
Big
turkey legs that
pterodactyl thing.
nobody
Yeah,
wants them.
Yeah, every day. And I was built in. And then we moved, came back around through Florida, Virginia. You're funny.
He's annoying.
I'll just picture her with the fucking big ass
Yeah,
turkey leg
little
with this
thing, yeah.
with this stink face on her. Like,
I don't
I don't want this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut
I'm,
up.
my bad.
No,
my
it's all
bad.
good. When the divorce finalized, my mom got an apartment for me, for us, my brother, and her, which is like an hour south of where my dad ended up staying with my stepmom.
Oh, I just wanted to bring up one thing, because that was one. Because you said when you first got to the States, you immediately got chicken pox, and this was probably like a year ago, and it blew my mind. Somebody was saying how like in the Caribbean, there's no such thing as allergies,
I'm not surprised.
and then it just made me think of like all the bullshit that's in America that's like slowly making us suffer.
Oh yeah, my pops, he has like chronic like bronchitis. Like he just has like this harsh cough that happens, and he's been working. He used to work as a postman and whatever. So like when he's here in the States, like he's coughing and all that stuff is happening. But when he goes to the Caribbean, it's not as bad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it must be air quality. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
Oh
honest.
yeah, air quality over here is trash.
We are literally breathing in fumes. Like
My
Yeah.
mother definitely had her humidifier on today when I left.
Yeah, because I remember I was talking to an MTA employee one time, and he was like, "Yo, the system is over 100 years old.
right.
There's nothing that's filtering any of the gas and fumes. Next time you take the train, get off the train and blow your nose, and see what comes out."
Try that.
Pure black tar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you move to the States, you start dealing with the nonsense in the schools, the typical shit. Then you say that you were sexually assaulted at 16. How did that go down?
So right before that, I know when I shot the email off, I was trying to brain dump.
Yeah, when I was trying to draft this, I was like,
It's a
it was
lot,
like
I know.
fucking, what's that movie, Minority Report?
I
When you
know.
start grabbing the shit from the screen.
Give me enough time, I'll give you a lot of shenanigans, trust me.
Oh, gosh.
So, right before that happened, a couple of years before that happened, I turned to being a bully. Like, I got years and years, being beat down. I was so small, I was like, you know what? I developed a very, very, very sharp and nasty, sarcastic mouth. Like, that was my fist.
That was your defense
not,
mechanism.
I'm not big enough to fight the people who are beating me down, so I had to cut you up. So if you said, "Oh, Chris, your shoes are this," I'm going straight at your mom's throat. Like, I'm going straight for the jugular, because I had to get you down, because I couldn't fight you. I couldn't fight you because you're gonna beat me down. So I have to get you mentally. So I had to like get really tactical with my verbal assault, and that's what led me to getting arrested at Kmart before getting assaulted. So I got with the bad crowd, went to Kmart, got arrested for shoplifting batteries, gum, and baseball cards. It's ridiculous. That was the worst beatdown of my life. My mom had to walk literally up a hill, not in the snow both ways, but she had to walk up in the cold up the hill to come get me. And when I tell you, that was the longest walk home for me. And I even had my bike. I was like walking behind her because she was so pissed that I got arrested for shop. Because, two things Jamaicans and a lot of Caribbean people don't play with are liars and a thief, because they're so poor. What are you lying about, and what are you stealing for? You know we have nothing. I've told you this, so what are you lying for, and what are you stealing for? Like, that's one thing you can do. Absolutely almost anything else, you do those two things, you're like, I'm disappointed in you type thing. When I tell you she threw haymakers at me in that corner of the house, like, I was getting
round one.
Yes. Fight. And I deserved it though.
Fatality.
No block button was saving you there, buddy.
Exactly. But for the sexual assault, so the court ordered, mandatory visitation. My dad would come down and get us. Well, at that point, my brother had moved. He went to college, so as every other weekend, I would see my dad. I'd go literally from rags to riches. My dad had the money, my mom didn't. So every 13 days, I went from my mom's apartment to lifestyles of the rich and famous. I get closer to him to get away from her, get away from him to be with her when things are going back and forth. So I'd bounce back living with either one of them. But I got to the point where I was like, my brother's not here. My mom is doing the best she can as being the dad, and my mom, I missed my dad. I really did miss my father. And this is back when Yahoo just started up with their personal section. And again, with your comment about before the filters on Facebook, Yahoo was checking nobody's ID. So all you had to do is check that box. Are you over 18? Sure I am.
Everyone's over 18.
Exactly. So I get in and go in the personals, and it never was a point of being gay or interested in guys, because I had a girlfriend before, part of which made me turn to a bully because the way she broke up with me, but that's another story. I know.
We got time.
But yeah, I got on there, and like, older guys just jumped right on there. It's like, how are you, whatever. And I'm one, already angry and twisted. Already been arrested once for shoplifting. I'm angry because my dad's not around. I don't have my brother, who's my best friend, built in there. So I'm just a slippery slope, excuse me. I'm like, oh, where do you live? I'm here. You're cute or whatever. This is back when I had to walk up to the Kinko's, scan your Polaroid, upload it to the computer, and then send it. Yeah, this is
I remember those.
Exactly. So, doing all that, and I'm like, okay, let's meet. Again, it was never about sex. I was like, this could be my dad, because me and my dad are beefing right now. I don't see him anyways. We had the best relationship, but every 2 weeks, I need something here. My brother's in Ohio, my mom's working. So I was really cool with the maintenance people in my building, and they would give me the keys, run around here, run around the building, just don't break shit. Like, you can run around and have your little parties in vacant apartments, just don't break anything, and don't tell them if you get caught where you got these keys from. So I'm telling the guy, hey, I live in this building, come see me or whatever. He's like, where do you live? And I'm telling him the apartment. And hearing myself say this right now, I'm like, what dumbass would think when an 18-year-old lives in his high-rise apartment by himself? But he did. So he comes, go in the apartment. We're just talking, literally for like half an hour. And he puts me on the floor, just gets on top of me, and yeah, he assaults me right there. And this is literally 3 floors up from where I stay with my mom in the same apartment building. Now, mind you, at that time, I'm this evil, punk bully, spitting venom from my mouth. So that compounded with being assaulted, I didn't tell anybody, because who's going to believe that? Like, this little dude who just lied to me about stealing, this little guy who's just venomous every time I talk to him. If I don't say the right thing to my child, to my friend, he's going to tear me apart. I didn't want to talk to you on a regular day, much less hear that you've been hurt. So, yeah, that happened, and I just turned even darker, which I'm sure you'll ask about here in a second. But yeah, that was the sexual assault, and I blamed myself for so long, because I did invite him over. I did, talk to him. I didn't invite him. I wasn't nowhere near the conversation when that's not where we were going.
Yeah,
and not to get graphic or whatever, but just for people who are listening, like, I wasn't prepared for that. If you want to put your mind where that is, and that's part of and funny reasons why I don't joke about certain bathroom things. It's just that brings back a very vivid. I will never get upset when someone jokes about that, but you'll notice I don't joke about certain things, and that it stems from that. It's just I just wasn't ready for that in so many different levels.
So, okay, you mentioned how after that event, things just got darker for you. How, explain your sort of behavior and how you changed after that.
I was on the honor roll in school. I was lucky to average a 1.0 grade point average, which is a D. I don't know what it is now, but missing School, I got suspended literally 4 times in a row. Not 4 times in a year, but I got suspended, and on the day I was reinstated, I got suspended that same day, 4 times in a row. Like,
Sounds like me with my write-ups at work.
Really?
Yep.
No, I just couldn't get it right. I just couldn't. I was so
Always
angry,
late.
and you, literally, I didn't even make it to the school day on each of those 4 days. It was like administrator came in one day. It was like wasn't even addressing me. I thought that she was. I literally got up, walked over to her, toe to toe with this woman. I'm like, what? Hindsight, you can make funny jokes about it, but like, what are you doing, Chris? Like, and no, I was so out of control.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you couldn't even tap me on my shoulder because you were just like you were literally so far out there. Like I can't even try to say. Like, I would die trying to save you. That's how far out you are right now, Chris. And that's I almost got expelled from school. I should have got expelled from school. Hindsight, got arrested again after turning 18. This time for forgery and felony theft in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They don't play up there. Stole a car. Had multiple cars. Started stealing from my job where I got arrested from, writing checks to myself to facilitate the high-end fabrics that you're making fun of your co-host earlier. But
They're
yeah,
expensive.
I had everything, but to everyone else around me, it was, oh, Chris has that money. I'm like, yeah, I had that money, but you have no idea how I'm getting it right now.
Right.
I don't know where your next question is, but around that same time, I was working 3 jobs. I called myself trying to get myself back in order, trying to go to school, and that just made me even more delirious and tired. So on top of me being angry now, I can't even function because I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I just even plummeted even further down. Like, I bleached my hair blonde with permit, had blue contacts, shadow gray contacts. I made myself a chameleon back then because I didn't want to see myself in the mirror. There were like months that would go by that I didn't even look in the mirror. I was just that far gone. I didn't want to see what I looked like to myself, much less you tell me what I looked like. So I would just do everything I could to mask my own hurt and my own, I don't know, my daily just goings around everything.
You never took the time to actually address the issue, even with yourself or anybody else.
Exactly.
So your behavior just was you just acting out because you had like this pain inside of you that you never even wanted to, acknowledge at that time.
Yeah. And my thing was, to me, how blind are you gonna have to see that something's wrong with me? I'm doing all this crazy stuff. Obviously, you should come ask me. Like, no,
No
that's
one
not how people work.
And that probably even hurt as well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The people
Now
around you
you're
that's supposed to be your loved
now
ones.
You ignore me, you don't
It's like
care.
Yeah, you're seeing this change, but it doesn't.
Right.
You never like, yo, Chris, you okay? You good? Like,
Right.
Because I'd yell at you anyways. Because if you didn't ask that question right, I'm gonna tear you up apart too. Like, I pushed the line so far back on you. Even if you breathe too hard, you cross the line with me, and I'm just gonna let you have it. So, just axing every relationship away. And it's amazing how me and my brother stayed close. I think it was only because he was in Ohio. He wasn't around me when he was at school. Obviously, he loved me. I'm his little brother, but even then, I pushed him away too. But it was sometimes there, like, stole his money for college. Like, it was, again, out of control. Like, just out of control. Like,
A lot of times the older sibling knows something is going on. Excuse me. Even when we want to ask, it's like, I know they're going through something, and I know that no matter what, I'm going to have their back when they're ready to talk about it, we'll talk about it. Because I'm the oldest.
Yep.
So I think I understand what his role was. Like, I don't want to cross the boundaries, so I'm just going to, whenever he needs me, even when he doesn't say it, I'll just be there, and I'll just forgive you automatically. But when you're
Always,
ready, I'm
yeah.
here.
Yep.
It was one of those.
Yeah, he always picked the phone up when I called, for sure. He was always there.
because it's one of those situations like you kind of get stuck. Whereas like if I inquire, that
Right.
may push them to do something that I would even think they would possibly do.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like you kind of want to do something because if God forbid something does happen, it's like,
It's
yo,
on your conscience.
I saw how many times you see some shit happen. It's like, yo, I saw the signs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't really know how a person may react when you try to interfere. Unfortunately, for a lot of situations, it's like you have to let the person go through it in order for them to figure out what's the proper solution for them.
You got to be close enough
Yeah.
Exactly.
to catch them real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, if it wasn't your brother, do you think anybody else could have had that connection with you in the sense of at that time?
No, not at all. Even my mom, like she was done with me. Like, stepmom, my dad, my stepsister, like they were locking the doors in the house, and I stayed there. Like, they changed the locks inside the house. Like, they had to lock up their purse, their identification. Like, I was
Well,
it's yeah,
It's
yeah,
lost.
yeah,
Yeah.
It just can't even. You see the look on my face. I'm like,
not even there half the
yeah,
time.
like we can joke about it and I'll laugh with you, but like reliving that, like if you would ask me on any given day where you're going, I probably could not have answered you. Like I would just like
I don't know.
it's autopilot. I'm just gonna go find something to do that isn't right. That was my North Star. Whatever isn't right, I'll be there. If it's right, I'm not gonna be there.
Because it couldn't be as worse as what you was dealing with
Exactly.
mentally.
Yep. Exactly.
That's a great point.
So what are some of the misconceptions you dealt with, like being sexually assaulted? Like how we hear, not very often, but we hear stories about men who have been through those
Terry
kind
Crews.
of things. Yeah.
Right.
So how did you feel being a man actually in that position? Because a lot of times we say, oh, that could never happen to me, or whatever. But when you're actually in the center of it, dealing with it, like how did that actually feel, and what did that, if you can paint a picture, what did that look like?
I'm gonna try and sound educated here, but like a Picasso or one of those, where it looks like the painter just threw paint on the thing, but it's actually
Pollock?
every
Pollock. I think what you're talking about is like, never mind.
like you're
No,
probably,
go
like I
ahead.
said,
No, the artist. I forgot his name, but Pollock was the guy that threw the paint and it
yeah,
splattered everywhere.
but he knows exactly where everything was.
Yeah.
I did it on purpose. To me, it's like what blew up? Who threw up on this canvas? But like that's worth $5 billion. I'm like,
Right.
pardon me, but but that's just how it felt. It was like going through it. It was this could never happen to me. You're a dude. The Jamaican culture. That's if y'all know, like it's a little less violent, but it's deadly violent. If you say gay, like that's red button. Shut the island down. We're coming to axe you, chop you up. Like it's legit stories like that. My mom loved me. She never passed that down, but she also was from the soil. Like she only knows what she knows, and she's learning how to deal with me as we're going on at that time in my life. I felt I couldn't talk because even now with the Me Too movement, it wasn't called Me Too, but it's back then it was still taboo. Like if a boy was molested or a man was molested, for that matter, it wasn't met with now you know how it feels, but it was almost the silence of and the absence of help was almost like a now you know what we're going through type feeling that I received from it versus yeah, I'm not trying to take away from any of the facts and the historical things that women have gone through and still go through, but I went through it too. And it's just like, and that too, that also, I'm not saying me remove yourself, but as well. Talk
Right.
with me, not talk at me. Don't let me talk at you. Let's talk about it. Like, how does that feel? And I would always look at and hear, because my mom has told me she was assaulted too before my dad, and it was like, how powerful would it be? And I remember as a little kid that we share the same stories. I'm assaulted. I'm the sex that assaulted you. Wouldn't you want to know how it felt for me to get assaulted too? Like,
Right.
help me. How did it feel when my sex assaulted you? Ask me how it felt when who assaulted you also assaulted me. Like, listen to me, and it's just like, and I can honestly say I was never met with the whole you're a sissy because you got raped, you're automatically gay. But the joking and the absence of saying that we won't say that, you might as well have said that I was gay and a sissy. That makes sense. Like it was,
Yeah.
like you like the conversation should be, oh, that's not good, Chris. No one should be, molested or raped. And
But it was more so put on, what did you do?
exactly. Like, how did you get to that point? Like, if you want to do that, then we all could be. I have to answer that awkward question. How to get to that point? That's not. No one puts on their clothes every day.
And
Let
think
me
about
not
that.
get raped today. That's not
Right.
what you do. Like, and it's if it is, we need to have a different kind of conversation. But I don't think even people who live in those environments still do that either. If they do, they do, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, it was almost just like if you could see, if you put like a mouse in a small box, or like anybody, a baby or a person, and them just you can't hear them. You just see them doing things. Like, I know you see me. This box is clear. Like, all you gotta do is open it up, and you'll start hearing everything I'm saying. But you just refuse to, for whatever reason.
Acknowledge.
You don't
Yeah.
acknowledge it, you don't want to listen, and a lot of times people lack empathy. Like, you can sympathize with me, but do you actually, like, feel it? Even if you've never been through it, but can you feel exactly what I'm saying? I think sometimes people automatically cut that part of them off,
Yep.
like on purpose, just so they could. It's like when I tell my male friends, if you see your male friend doing something, tell me he's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But then other men won't tell another man what you're doing is wrong. It's that, well, ain't none of my business kind of
Right.
thing.
Exactly.
And I feel like when it comes to sexual assault of any kind, a lot of times people are like, that's fucked up, but me, I don't
Exactly.
really know what
Exactly.
to tell you.
And that's a safe response because you remove yourself from caring and or
Mhm.
not caring. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
No,
I can be mad at you for saying that, but at the same time, you know I really can't because you removed yourself from saying anything.
anything.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's also very harsh, like ripping a Band-Aid.
Right.
It sucks to be you. Like, I know this. Like, you know this.
Like,
Newsflash.
Yeah, exactly, right?
it's like it builds up another wall of protection from you getting close to anybody, any kind of
Yep.
nature. And this is why a lot of times, and I think families in general, and especially in the South, my family's from the South, sexual assault isn't something you necessarily talk about. It's something you know, like we all joke and we all have that uncle or that cousin, like you can't be around him for too
Exactly.
long.
Yep.
And I know a lot of my family listens to this. It was an incident. I was grown now. And one of my cousins yelled at me because I went to go hang out with one of my cousins. And I did not understand why he was so furious. And I'm like, this is our cousin. Like, why are you so upset? And then later on, he had a conversation with me like, this is what it is. And I don't want you around him anymore.
Gotcha.
And it just sucks that instead of just telling him, like, yo, you have a problem, you need help, it's like, we're just going to, isolate him and keep everybody away from him.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what happens a lot of times with sexual assault. We isolate ourselves from the victim.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I don't know what's...
And to isolate yourself from the victim and the accuser.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
now that you isolated him, God knows what he's doing in secrecy.
Yep.
Right.
As opposed to if you actually made an
Said something.
effort to, have conversations with him, he may, if he was put in that situation, he may second guess himself.
Yep.
Or how many times you get that phone call from, somebody that's an addict or something, and, because you had that conversation with them, it's like, yo, I feel like I might relapse or some shit like that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you never had that conversation with
They're
that
not gonna say
person,
that.
there's like, okay, well, y'all don't really fuck with me, so I'm going to just keep doing this
Keep on
shit
doing. Exactly.
in the dark.
Yeah, it's very R. Kelly 101, and I know like we haven't really talked about it. I know a lot of people have, but just the fact that he has a problem, and everyone knows about said problem, but they don't want to address it or even acknowledge the people who say that he has a problem that was there like firsthand. You know what I'm saying? It's like at some point, when are you going to start believing somebody?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like everyone can't be lying. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Not even believing, like actually just caring.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I mean, sources.
how
too,
many
but-
times that man said he came to the studio, he saw all the girls in different bedrooms, you never said nothing. Well, I was wondering what he was doing. You knew what he was doing, you ain't care.
Fuck.
Yeah.
People just don't care, and it
Yeah.
sucks. They don't care. If it's not them, if it
'Cause
doesn't
their
affect
money,
them,
their money means more than anything.
yeah.
And it can never be them. Oh, won't be me. Can never be me. Can never be my
Something
kid.
smart.
It can never.
The
Yeah,
never
okay.
can be would entrap you your whole life. That's. I think saying that almost guarantees life. Not necessarily making it happen to you, but giving you a brush across. You're like, oh yeah, let me bring you close to this fire real quick. Let me let you see how easy this can happen, not only to you but people you care about, or any X, Y, and Z. But I did want to this sort of thing to your question about how do they make you feel, and this is prevalent now, but it was also still prevalent back then for me. The de facto when someone mentions the word sexual assault or rape, it's majority of the time, and it's numbers back this up, it's a man doing it to a woman. No one's gonna sit here and lie and say it isn't true. But in my case, and in other cases that are out there, like a woman being assaulted by another woman, a man being assaulted by another man, asking this, that, take a hiccup, who did it? If you say that, I can guarantee you the amount of stories that will start opening up. But like, you listen to me. Like, if I just say rape, where is he at? Where is he selling? What was he wearing? Where is she? Where is the victim? I just said rape. That could just mean saying the Cowboys got raped by the Rams. All you heard was the word rape. Automatically, the man did something to a woman. Again, the numbers don't lie. They support that. That's not what I'm arguing against. But for people like me, people who aren't me, people who've died, who never had the chance to say that, if you just stop and be like, can you tell me what happened? Something before you already put the man attacking the woman, and just realize what, just put that question out there first. Same thing asking if someone's handicapped, like, you're saying what's wrong versus, like, what's wrong with you versus
How did that happen?
How did it happen?
What
And it's like
happened?
you immediately shut down. I don't think there's a way you can factor this into time how quickly I shut down when I hear that. But no, I can't tell you how many times I was ready to tell somebody, but oh, what do you mean? What did he do to her? I'm like, it's me. he did that to me. But you've already
Right. You
put a
already
girl in the
dismissed it.
situation.
Yeah,
I can't talk to
you've
you.
already dismissed any other possibility of it being something else because we're programmed to see it as one way. It's depicted like that in the majority of cases.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you see on TV, it's the man being aggressive to the woman, and then she's the one that has to be in the police station, like crying and the rape kits and all that stuff. Like you hear about those stories over and over, and then when the narrative is switched, it's like, oh come on, this is the likeliness. Now everyone's a stat nigga. Like oh the probability. Like get out of here. Like bro, how do you know those type
How
of?
could you let something like this happen? You're a man
Right,
yourself.
right.
You're big. You're this and that.
Shut
It's
up. Sorry, I'll be saying shut up to people. Sometimes people just need to shut up. Like, how could you actually know if you've never been in that type of situation?
Exactly.
And these type of stories you're not even exposed to.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come on.
People have their own bias whenever I hear about a man being sexually assaulted, I automatically think of a woman sexually assaulting a man, because those are the type of stories that I've heard being close to other male friends. It's always been like the babysitter or like the older next door neighbor. Very rare that you would hear a man being sexually assaulted by a man, but when I do hear about it, it's usually in the South. Yeah, it's usually almost always in the South, which is weird. I need to look that up. Why? Let me take a note of that one. Fucking Southerners.
Number one answer.
Exactly.
Number one answer every single time. Mom, get out. Sorry.
No.
It's too soon.
She ain't hear you 3 episodes ago, my G.
Don't worry me now.
I'm getting a fucking tan.
Don't worry, I told her on the phone. She don't care.
Oh man. Well, forgive me if I'm skipping anything, because again, we're just trying to create a timeline. So then, also, you eventually went into stripping and prostituting. Was that the result of the assault?
Mm-hmm. Just to further down that rabbit hole. And I actually came up to New York to be a stripper under an assumed name, because that's one, obviously a physical departure from where the assault happened, but no one knew me back then. And this is how, you can say, ratchet I was back then. This is a few days after 9/11 hit. Like, I was up here, I had pictures of me standing on Ground Zero, the rubble of Ground Zero, where we could get as close as we could. And what am I doing after that? Right to the stripper pole. Not saying you have to, just because that tragic event happened, you have to have empathy or whatever, but I was there at the site a few days. You could still smell the burning flesh and rubble. I gotta go strip. I don't care. The smile on my face in these pictures is so oblivious. It's just like, you're standing on this, what will become a historical monument at this point, landmark in time and history, but you're focused on yourself, you're hurt, and rightfully so in some manners, but you're just worried about getting to that stripper pole and getting that money so you can forget about this 3-hour drive back home to go back into the rut that you're in. I did that for a few months, literally every weekend, coming back and forth. And the prostitution, as dumb as I am, so the German thing, I'm still a stereotypical blonde, if you want to say. So there's one time I was outside of a club, sitting on the corner, waiting for my friends to come outside, and this guy pulls up, and to start, because I had blonde hair at that point too. He's like, "Oh, you're blonde hair. You should be a model." I'm like, arrogant, I am, whatever, self-made, bullshit. He's like, "Are you working?" And here I go, "Yeah, I have a job," and I'm telling him where I work, my 9 to 5. He was asking me to work in the corner, but again, I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm 39, pushing 40. Yeah, my common sense streetwise is getting there, and it's there, but it wasn't instilled in me. I wasn't born here, so there was gonna be those times where you say something too quick. But give me 2 seconds to think about what you just said, and I'll catch back on. But then I was, still fresh, 2021. I said, "Yeah, I'm working, whatever." And the smile on his face, if you guys think of like the devil, like I got him. Like it was just like, okay, you're really stupid. And he was like, okay. He played along with it. He's like, "Yeah, you should come over to this other bar." He's like, "Okay, I'll go over there." I mean, this other guy, he said, "Oh, he's working too." My dumbass. "Oh, what job do you have? What 9 to 5?" Like, no, he's introducing.
What's your benefits?
Exactly. Right.
And I'm because
Steve is looking at me laughing because he already knows what's going on in my head.
Where did you apply?
Exactly. I know, right? Can I apply there too?
What's the requirement?
I know. But at that
My
point,
dumbass. That's what he's
but at that point, this is one of the few that have gotten past me being negative and so sarcastic into him. It's like, this is a friend, immediate friend. So I'm like, again, all my defenses are down. So you could have said anything to me at that point. I was going to roll with you. So I'm meeting this other guy. He's like, "Oh, you should grow your hair out and get braids like him." I'm like, that's when it started trying to click to me. I was like, it still didn't click to me, the prostitution thing. Then I went home. He texted me, like, "You can make this kind of money or whatever." And I was like, I dismissed it when he finally told me, "Oh, I'm a John this is what I do. That those are my boys. That they work in the corners. Like, oh hell no. But since I'm so negative and so wide open, the seed is already planted. So I go back onto my little Craigslist, whatever. Now, mind you, it sounds like I'm trying to protect myself, but I'm not. This person that I met in the chat room wanted someone for sex, for money, and I didn't at that point go into that. But again, negative worlds and planets align, right up. And this guy had a son in Division I hockey scholarship. And when I tell you, I felt so bad, but at the same time, I couldn't stop. Like, he had called his son on the phone in the car. I can't come pick you up. Like, I'm busy. I'm like, wow, I'm that guy. I'm that stereotypical
harlot, I guess?
Yeah, exactly. That
Oh.
yeah, your calm voice of I have this meeting. I'm sitting right next to you about to do something. Like, you're a dad. You're talking to your son. But he gave me money. So that just started that. And I was like, well, that's another way to throw this shield up of no one knows the hurt I'm going through. And now I'm getting money. Now I can afford the things that do make me happy. The cars, the rims on my on the car, the limo tint, the big booming system in my car, and jewelry, all this dumb shit. But it was easy sliding down into it. So I know when I've shared that with people before, they say, "Oh, you just did it for like $20," or like, "No, I was a full-fledged."
What?
No, you know, because they try to minimize it, you know, with the whole men getting raped too thing, that stats. Like, no, like I was legit going home, freshening up on the corner, setting up an internet. Like, no, this was a full-fledged, like, let's not call it what it is. I was a prostitute, like, or gigolo, whatever you want to call the male version of that. But I knew what I was doing. So
At that point, did you feel like morally, like, I guess, stunted in the sense
Oh,
of
yeah.
like,
oh yeah.
fuck it.
Thing I didn't mention, this whole time we're devout Christians. 6.5 days of the week, I'm living the devil's life. I'm his right hand man. But 11 a.m. on Sunday, I'm right there with you. You would never know the difference. Only thing you would know is that, oh, you look tired. Like, yeah, I've been up. What normal 20-something isn't staying up late on Saturday night.
Right.
But you'll know what I've been staying up doing. But
Thanks.
yeah.
Wow.
So what are some misconceptions when it comes to even, well, I don't want to say industry, but
Just
what are,
industry.
what are some misconceptions when it comes to that sort of lifestyle? Because we don't typically hear the story about the male prostitute. We usually hear about the female prostitutes.
We don't get it half as bad. We're never the dirty slut or the whore or the homebreaker. We're usually always well dressed.
Mm-hmm.
We're picking finer restaurants to eat and stay in. We're whining dining type thing, and we're guaranteed getting something out of it. And we're not getting beat up at the night. You're not chasing me for money. I'm in control, because still the male bravado transfers very easily into this world too. I'm still in power. I'm still the head of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the stereotypical woman. You should still be home barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen, while I'm out here doing my legs in the air. But those legs were in a suit before that. Those legs are going to be walking to this car dealership to get these big rims in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to be playing basketball with my boys on the weekend. But after that last shot, where I'm going home, I'm getting pretty to go get the highest bidder on the corner. And people, it's a respected thing, because I'm still getting notches in my belt. I'm still hooking up. I'm still getting my rocks off, so to speak. Be it with a man or a woman, you're still doing your thing. You're still in control, and it's like, I'm no better, if not worse, at this point, because now you're seeing what I'm doing, and you're actually applauding and telling me to go for it even more. And this is what you should be doing, because you're at the top. You're the top of the food chain. You're the top of the species. I'm like, nah, man, this is not passing judgment. But for me at that point, no, this is
Not the life you should have been
no,
living.
not for me at all.
Do you think that you were giving more money and more, luxurious things because a lot of the men who would, I guess, hire you, whatever, were straight? Were a lot of them straight?
Oh yeah, yes,
Majority of them.
yeah,
More than
married, like, and this is to this day. Like, I'm not saying I'm a prostitute now, Lord knows, but it's just I go for higher end things. I don't know if that's something just innate in me, but it was like I never messed with anybody. And again, not to judge anybody, but these are people living in lofts, single family homes, Mercedes. Like, it just, and again, I didn't target these people. Just how, I guess subconsciously, that's what I went for. And it was just like,
Because you was just grabbing just you was attaching yourself to like any materialistic thing to like hide or mask all the pain that you've been dealing with for your entire life up until that point.
Yep.
So it kind of
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yep.
Right.
And I remember this one day in particular. I went online and went back out 4 times and met 4 different people in the matter of one night. Had 4 showers, 4 different outfits, 4 different men I met. And I remember after the 4th one, I was so tired, like literally physically and mentally tired. I was driving out of DC on Route 50. I had a Fast and Furious car, Honda Accord, loaded, tricked out, exhaust, big wheels, everything. I let go of the wheel and just like floored it and closed my eyes. And it's like, whatever happens, it's gonna happen in this car. Like I was ready to, if it flips and I die, if it scratches, whatever, I'm gonna be okay with what happens. I was just so low at that point. I was like, it's one thing to hook up for me at that point, but 4 different people in a matter of a night. Like I'm literally driving back and forth, showering, and giving these men these authentic, you're the first tonight experiences. I'm like, this is not even, you're going too far for yourself at this point. When I tell you the only thing that happened was the car got a little nick on their driver's side mirror. That's all that happened. I let go for a long time too. Like, and I'm not trying to get all overly spiritual or whatever, but it wasn't me in control of that car. Like it really wasn't. Cause I was done. I was like, just whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I was pissed at God and Jesus. Like, why did you not take me out? I clearly I just gave up. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And what happened the next day? Right back to it.
What made you keep going back? Was it the money? Was it your ability to just be someone totally different and escape?
I was in control. Cause
the only thing you were in control of. And that made you, it gave you a rush.
Yep, because that guy took control of me. Like, I had to be in control of something. Like, and ever since then, to your point of the seeking the materialistic things like that, that was the one thing, and I still deal with it to this day, of having to be in control of certain things, because you robbed me of that. Like, you robbed me of my innocence, to use a belated term or berated term at that point, but it's like, I had to be in control, and that was one thing I can control. You wanted me because I was this young thing, like, I knew you wanted that. I could, whereas you thought you were pulling my strings because you were paying me, no, dude, I'm pulling yours. I'm pulling yours. You're coming to me. You're inviting me to your house. You're telling your son in front of me that I'm your meeting. You're telling your wife you can't go home. I'm sitting right in front of you. Like, I'm in control. And it wasn't a power control. It was just a hurtful control. Like, I'm controlling how much or how little you can hurt me at this point.
Right. So you'll never be hurt again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Because in from the other perspective of, like, when women, I mean, I have no stats to prove this, so I would say it's like more 50-50, but you have those same sorts of scenarios with women that, deal with some level of sexual assault, and in turn, in some cases, they use sex as that tool to start controlling other aspects of their relationships moving forward, because when, like you were saying, once that power is taken away from you, all they search for is to have that power again. So you'll see some women, after they deal with something like that, they'll either end up prostituting or, escorting or God knows what, because they something was stripped from them. So they want to take that, like, oh, you ain't, like, now instead of going home, like you said, now you chilling with me for 15, 20 minutes tops.
Whatever it is.
I got you to cancel your whole vacation trip with your whole entire family, but you spending like triple the amount just for like 15 minutes.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
In that industry, did you self-medicate at any point? Because I know a lot of my friends, they're gay men or whatever, and in their world there's a lot of drug uses. So if you're stripping and you're prostituting, was there any point where you self-medicated?
I would say I've never done any drugs in my life. Liquor was, alcohol was, I was drunk almost 7 days a week during that time. Like, literally out of my mind. To the point where I had to go through Celebrate Recovery, which is a Christian version of Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah, it was to the point, I remember before I admitted myself there, the one thing I never did was drink at work at my 9 to 5. And I'd set up to meet up with this guy for money, and he was running late. And it was cold outside, but I went into liquor store just to get out of the cold. Bought liquor, and I started drinking right there. It was, again, one of those low points. Again, like the night I went for the 4 guys in one night. It's like, Chris, now you're drinking at work. It's like 10 a.m. Like, one, you're already prostituting at 10 a.m. Now you're drunk, and you got to go back to work. And I'm like, yeah, we're rolling. Like, we're
Like, we're here.
Yeah, there's no turning back at this point. I've seen it. We go to the clubs. I remember this. Again, it was this weird, bizarro pulling in me because it would be, at any given time, I would flip out if you cursed. Don't ever say God damn around me at that time because I'm the preacher, remember, because I'm going to church. Don't you say that. Don't you sin. Mind you, I'm about to go screw some guy or whatever for money. Don't you curse in my car. And it was we had these weird arguments, the dumbest arguments, right? I remember this. We were going down. There's 4 of us. Never forget it. Come down to BW Parkway, and open up this CD, and I hear the snorting sound. I look up. I'm bawling down the street, just doing lines in the backseat of my car. Now, mind you, I'm going to go prostitute. Who am I? No holier than thou, right? Pot calling kettle black. I pulled the car over. I threw him out of my car. We had a fight right on the side of the highway because you crossed the line. What line is that? I don't know, but like,
how dare you?
Exactly, right?
You crossed that motherfucker.
Yeah, but that was one thing I just never did. That goes back to control. Like, you will not do anything around me that I do not allow.
Can't control.
Yeah, like, and that's one thing. It was kind of a 2-pronged thing. One, I never did drugs, and that was already enough of a frustration in a sane mind for me. But on top of me being angry, hurt, and everything, I flipped on him, and like, granted, wasn't a real friend, but it was like hindsight. It's funny, but like, Chris, again, here we are. You're out of your mind. You're mad at him for snorting, doing the lines in the back of your car where you're off to go prostitute. That makes sense. That makes total sense right now.
Well, I think that tends to happen with just, I mean, that's an extreme case, but I think that just tends to happen with people in general. Is like, when you're so into your behavior, you'll find any way to justify it. But anything else that you oppose of, like, that's the end all be all.
Yep.
Like, I could be doing God knows what, and y'all better support me with it, or fuck all of y'all. But if God forbid y'all do anything around me that I don't support, then
That's
it's
it.
like,
Right.
nah, I can't deal with you people.
Exactly.
Mind you, I'm trash.
Yeah. We're on the way to do more trash.
Trash begets trash. I mean,
That's true. You're right.
But I'm a
You're true.
glittery trash bag though. Okay, fancy one.
Recycle.
Wait, did you see the
bin.
one that because you know everybody doing that 10-year previous post.
Ugly
There was
and
one
still
where
ugly.
there was one where 2008 there was trash, and then 2019 there was a Louis Vuitton trash bag.
That is funny.
Cause like I'm looking at all these pictures, like
Designer
y'all still
trash.
got poor quality in the cell phone. Okay, you were ugly, then you're ugly now.
Wow.
You just got a wig or
I
a
mean,
beard.
okay,
Wow.
you're
Like,
being rude.
Everybody deserves
But
love.
on,
What are you
but on
saying?
top of that, the ugliness is inside.
No.
Sometimes.
Oh wow, good. Deadpan. Yeah.
No, it's definitely on the out.
All right, you're petty.
Definitely
Moving
on
on.
Just say.
I really don't know why they listen to us. Who you mad disrespectful? Oh man.
Well,
What?
trash.
Well, there's that. That's our show, ladies and gentlemen. But no, I think this is probably the perfect point to wrap up our first part of this story that we're gonna get into. So, everybody just tune into the next episode.
Yeah,
That
stay
should-
tuned. We're gonna have more from Chris and more about his experiences, and yeah, it's a wild
It's
ride.
a
but-
cliffhanger. We be right back. The fuck? I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Now I gotta edit that out.
No, keep it. Stop it, Grant. I gotta pee.
We'll be back.
We are out here. Fuck y'all talking about? Sophisticated ignorance. Are y'all fucking crazy?
That's a fact. Talk
Are
that
y'all
shit.
crazy? Yo, y'all getting me tight. Like, I be out here trying to be humble. Let's not get fucking crazy. Sophisticated ignorance. Alright?